We chose the on-the-field view because it suits the style of gameplay we're going for. Coupled with the euphoric technology, you actually feel like you made that tackle. You know, you hit someone and the camera, you know, it jerks and you see everything happen. You really feel the impact.
Especially when you're sacking the quarterback and you blindside him. There was one I had the other day where a barge tackle into him from my shoulder, and you just saw his whole spine bend back and his head go back, you know, with whiplash, and it was just such a big hit. And again, if you're far back, you would never get that. You wouldn't see the detail. If the pocket starts to collapse as well, you actually see it in front of you, and you start to panic.
It's actually quite scary.
Yeah, and you know, you want to scramble, you want to throw the ball away, you want to make that quick pass. You wouldn't get that if the camera's up so high. You wouldn't have essentially the emotional attachment to it because you're not down on the field. I think the other thing is when you're engaged in a block and we tilt the camera slightly, and you know you're actually physically engaged with that guy. And through the camera work, what we do, we track the ball carrier. So although you can see the guy you're blocking against, you try to get around him. We always frame the ball carrier so you always know where you want to go to. Now that we have this camera, I think it's quite apparent that we would never want to go back anyway. You know, if you're charging down the sidelines and you're about to get a touchdown, it just feels so much more real. Especially if there's a guy behind you and you slowly see his shadow creep up, you know, and there's that anticipation of, am I going to get there, am I going to get there?
Totally, yeah.
Do I want a showboat? Do I have enough time to do that? It just makes it so much more intense. It just makes it so much more exciting.
It also makes you jump out your skin when a safety comes across and wipes you out just when you're about to score the touchdown.
Well, people, as we've seen from the men over there at Natural Motion, they gave you the rhyme and reason as to why they implemented that camera view. Now, you know, this is just my personal take on it. I honestly like that camera view better because it actually pays respect, at least to me, it pays respect to the speed of the game, to the difficulty of truly playing the game. Like, you really have to play and learn and understand what it is that you're doing and then execute that in this game. Now, I'm showing this actual NFL footage here just to depict that when we watch football, this is how we see it. We don't see it behind the player's jersey or inside the player's helmet. You know what I'm saying? That's talking about 2K5 and Backbreaker respectively. This, like, we're all accustomed to this, you know, in terms of the media, in terms of what we see, in terms of television broadcasted sports in general across the board. We're used to seeing the whole field. We're used to seeing everything. Because if we just had it behind one player, we would all be, you know, we'd all be screaming to the rooftops. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be very bland and very boring and irritating. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, we want to see that in our video games that we play as well. But that's why when you see people, when you've seen how 2K Sports came out with their game and they had basically added the first-person football as a side feature instead of it being the way the game is played, is because people in general do not like being like that. They don't want to be restricted to that. At least that's how I feel. People don't want to be restricted to having one kind of view, and that's it. You see what I'm saying? Because they want to be able to see everything just like they do on TV. That's what Madden brought to the table, and that's what Madden has been doing, and then 2K we're doing. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when they've been doing what they've been doing is giving that on-field view. I mean that on-field sky view all these years, you know. So now it's like, okay, now you have this game come out and give a culture shock to everyone and say, well, what we're doing is we're giving it to you on the field, 110% on the field. You know what I mean? And like I said, you look at the ESPN first-person football, you had it directly up in the helmet. Now, the problem with putting it solely into the helmet is that you couldn't determine when to stiff arm, when to juke, or when to spin when it comes, you know, being on offense. And then on defense, you couldn't time dive tackles, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would really have to really work at it. But the thing is, you could not truly determine it without making yourself look silly or giving up a big play. Unless you straight up ran into the player. Now, the way that they switch players, like you switch from player to player, yes, that's something that backbreakers should implement. So that way you could gather your bearings, and see what's going on as you're switching to the player. Slow everything down, see where the ball's at, see what's going on, and then, make the switch and try and make a play on the ball or whatever, whether you're trying to receive the ball or if you're a defender trying to make a tackle or a pick. So, I look at this game and I see that, and it's like those are the things that I like, and then the things that I didn't like. So, in terms of that first person football view. But I generally would not sit around and every time I put on the game, I would play it in that view. Like, I honestly don't play it in that view. I play it in the God mode view because that's just more enjoyable to me. You know what I'm saying? And that, like I said, that's just my opinion. That's just how I feel about it or what have you. But I'm pretty sure the masses of people don't, also play it in the God view mode because that's what we're all comfortable with. That's what we're all used to. So, but like I said, like I was saying, folk at Natural Motion, they did a great job to me bringing the gameplay up to the forefront in terms of how to pay respect to football in terms of the speed and the difficulty that it truly takes to honestly play it. And for them to try and simulate that in a football game, they did a great job. You know what I'm saying? And also, just to add this and note this, Madden does have an on-field view. They have it in Madden 10. I had seen it in somebody had a video, and they had shown it. It was probably like a few months ago when I had seen it. But they did have like an on-field view that put it behind the player to a certain distance and put it right there on the field to a degree. So. But outside of that, like I said, you see the God view that's in All-Pro, that's in Madden, NFL 2K5, and you look at Backbreaker, and it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I cannot play those games ever again. I mean, outside of the tackling and the physics and the respect to it in terms of offense and defense, I mean, it's just like overall, I experienced football in a whole new way playing it that way. It's like I'm actually playing, in full respect of the sport of football in comparison to just having this overcast camera like I'm playing chess or checkers and you just looking, seeing what the defense is giving, and then you go ahead and just call whatever it is you want to call, and that's it. So but just on that note, that's my overall feeling on that. And I got to give a big shout out to Mr. 414 for his video. And I'm going to put his link in the video as well because he straight up put a great video together. And Peyton Manning describes best what focus actually is, a focus mode. And in essence, he explains the focus mode in Backbreaker within that little clip interview that he had on the video. So shout out to Mr. 414, Apex, everybody, you know what I'm saying, Moody, Brozales, everyone. So this is your boy Smitty signing out. Now holla at y'all later. Peace out.